How's it going, everybody? Wanted to share about going, staying, and the danger of going back. As you can see, the angle of the camera is kind of funny. On this side, I have a bookcase. On this side, I have some empty moving boxes, and all of that is because I just recently went through a move about 2 weeks ago, and it actually, even though it occurred 2 weeks ago, God started preparing us for this move about 2 years ago. My mom came to me and said, it's time for us to move. And while I agreed with her, I didn't understand how we were going to get all those things together. And I basically told her, well, you pray about it, I'll pray about it. And when God makes the way, we will make the move. Not realizing that while we were praying, God was actually moving us into doing things that were preparing us for where we are right now. Things that I was purchasing, mine started socking away and things of that nature. And when the ball really started rolling, we really did try a few different avenues of moving before finally finding somewhere that was within our budget, which I didn't think was very much at all, within the parameters of what we needed and wanted. I really did not know if it was going to be possible for us to move. And so that we're here is a great blessing. This particular apartment that we are in is the last place that we actually visited and consulted with anyone about, and things started rolling into place and falling into place sight unseen before we ever saw the apartment. She was the only person who really was able to answer our questions to our satisfaction, even over the phone. And when I say she, I'm talking about the office manager. And it was terrifying. It was terrifying to move because it required a great deal of funds. It required a great deal of faith. It required a great deal of humility and all of those things. But I will say that once we started on this journey, God touched people's hearts, and people came out in droves to help us pack. Some people paid other people to help us move, while they also helped us move, helped us pack, helped us get stuff in trucks. And some people brought their vehicles, and they were able to move us from where we were over here. And where we are now is in a safer neighborhood. And while the rent is a little bit more, what we get in the value and the safety, and it's a gated community. We step out the door to a pool, and I mean, it's nice. And it's right up the street from where I work, really. 10-minute drive beats a 40-minute drive any day. Yeah, praise the Lord on that one. But it made me think about when God told Abraham in the Bible, and at the time he wasn't Abraham, his name was Abram. He told him, leave your home, leave your land, leave your family and all that you know, and go to a land that I will show you. He didn't tell him where he was going exactly. He told him he would show him the land. He was leaving everything that he knew, all the people that he knew, only bringing his wife and himself, and every step that he had to take was a step of faith. He had to rely on God every step of the way, because God did not share details of what he was going to do with Abram. But because Abram did follow the word of the Lord, he probably was scared. He probably wondered if this was going to work out or what he was going to come in contact with. But he was obedient to the word of the Lord. He left everything that he knew. And God blessed him not only by bringing him to a new land, but he blessed him to start a people, to be the father of a people and the father of a faith that we share if you are a believer in Jesus Christ. And it makes me wonder how many times God asks us for our blind faith. How many times God asks us or tells us that it is time to move. And he doesn't tell us where we're going. He doesn't always give us all the details, but he gives us what we need to know as we need to know it. And so many of us do not move when God tells us to move. And the problem with that is when we don't move where God is telling us, where where we are is directly linked to our destiny. And if we stay where we are, then we stay stuck. We stay stagnant. Sometimes things start regressing. Some places you may be, it may be your job, and you may find that more and more you don't like that job, or the people really don't understand and they don't value you as they once did. It's probably because your value is greater where you are supposed to be going. You may not be as safe at home because now it's time for you to go to a new place to live. While going with God can be terrifying and scary, the alternative of staying in stagnation and getting comfortable in stagnation simply because it's comfortable to stay there because it's somewhere you know means that you're doing some things to be a detriment to your destiny and your future. And how many of us have seen others who have gone and wonder, well, why can't I do that? Is it possible that it's because we haven't gone to? It may be because we're still on the way there, but sometimes it's because we haven't gone to. God may have told us to move and we didn't. We weren't obedient to that. We decided to stay. Next, I want to talk about the disaster and the danger of regressing and going back to where you came from. Whether or not it's a scary situation that you're involved in and you think that if I go back, I'm going to be safer, or if I go back, at least I know what I'm dealing with, or if I go back, the danger in going backwards from where God has delivered you from. God brings you out of somewhere. He literally delivers you and he brings you to a new place. Think about what he did with the children of Israel when they crossed the sea, the Red Sea. As they were crossing into their new place of destination, they were moving on, but God set a trap for their enemies. And Pharaoh and all of his army died in that wasteland, in the sea, once it came back together. If you go backwards, you go back into the trap that God set for your enemies. He didn't set it for you, he set it for your enemies. And sometimes there are things in our past and things that God wants to get off of us and away from us to free us. And if we go back to those things and we wonder, why can't we get free of this? And how is it that I have so much trouble, when really we went back? The next thing I want to talk about is staying. Sometimes staying is not a bad thing. There's a saying that I hear older people say, and my mom says it a lot. If I can't go forward, I'm certainly not going to go backwards. I'm going to stay right here until my change comes. And I'm talking about this because sometimes it may feel more comfortable to go back. But if you wait where you are and keep reminding yourself of God's promise for where you're going, then you are set in place to continue to go forward when the door opens for you to progress. But I've already talked about the dangers of going back. So I want to talk to all believers, and I want to encourage you to, if you are in a period of where you need to stay where you are because the way has not yet been prepared, or it's being prepared and has not been open yet, stay until your change comes. Do not allow anything to intimidate you or to give you a mindset that you got to go back. You don't have to go nowhere until God makes your way. If God says to go, as scary as it may be, you have no idea where your obedience in going could bring you. And God has some great places for all of us to go. But it is assured that if we do not go, all we have is where we are. I hope that we're blessed. I hope that we're encouraged. Praise be unto God.